What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're giving our thoughts on the Aimpoint Duty RDS. We want to make this as easy as possible so when you're making your selections for red dot, you can decide if this is the one for you or not. With that, let's get into the video. So it should be noted that I purchased this red dot by myself. We're not sponsored in any way. I wanted to go with what I consider to be the best option for me given my use case with this rifle. I didn't really spare any expense when I went over this. If you guys want to find out more about this build, you can click up below or click up above and watch our build video on this rifle. First things first, the Aimpoint Duty RDS is coming in at about $499 at the time of making this video. Much more budget friendly than some of the other products they make. Obviously it has a T2 footprint, so very similar in regards to their staple red dot, if you will. And giving guys a budget option is definitely a welcome sight from Aimpoint. It should be noted that the mounting height is going to be a little bit different than past practice for either the T2 or really any red dot sight out there. For those that are looking for a true co-witness red dot optic height, this is coming in just slightly above that at a 1.54 inch or 39 millimeter over sight over bore. And then it's a little bit lower than a lower 1/3 mount. So you're kind of in between those two optic heights. This might deter some folks because aftermarket mounts are gonna be very limited for this optic. But if you're like me and you practice with the dot and you get used to the optic height and you understand your height over bore, it really doesn't factor in for me. And the fact is, if I lower my cheek weld on the optic and I have iron sights on here, I can still get a co-witness with this height. So for law enforcement agencies that require your guys to have backup irons, you're still able to get that co-witness with the irons. You just have to lower your cheek weld slightly in order to kind of check that box. That's more of an administrative thing, you know, to say, hey, this is a co-witness height sight, but it is going to be slightly higher given the footprint of this mount. Now let's talk about some differences between the T2 and the Duty RDS. The first and foremost, windage and elevation adjustments are going to be with a torque screw or their specialized tool that they provide you when you purchase this optic. It is going to come with a mount. Most T2s do not come with a mount. And it's going to have sight adjustments for dimming or brightening your red dot on the side. In the past, it's been a knob, so where that was before on the T2 has now been replaced with a battery cap. The battery life on the Duty RDS is going to be slightly lower than your T2, comparing 50,000 hours with the T2 to 30,000 hours with the Duty RDS. That's still a substantial amount of time and plenty for me. I change out my batteries once a year. If anything changes on that, I will do an update video to let you guys know what's going on with that. But so far, I've had this for about 8 months and I haven't had any issues with battery life. I haven't changed out the battery from originally getting it, so far so good. For me, I have a lot of experience with the Pro, the predecessor to the Duty RDS. Much larger footprint, but overall had very good experiences with that. I've had it for over 5 years in a SWAT capacity, banged it on the armored truck I don't know how many times, dropped it, never lost a zero in those 5 years that I've used it. There are things I don't love about it. One, it's a much larger footprint. The adjustments tend to be a little loose to where if I'm just throwing it in a cruiser or throwing it in my truck, that dial will start to turn on. Outside of that, it's obviously a much bigger window, but heavier and ultimately taking up more space in my line of sight. So you might be asking yourself, why would I go with the Aimpoint RDS over something like a Vortex, Holosun, or some other more cost-effective options? Again, for me, it's a lot of bias, simply because I've never had a single issue with the Pro, and Aimpoint is just known to be reliable. If something is going to hold my zero consistently with the factory mount provided with the optic, and I drop this thing, I bang it around, and I don't really have to be concerned that it's going to crack the glass or that I'm going to lose a zero or it's going to get jostled around in any way, that is a big deal to me. But it really is designed for patrol operations. Doesn't mean as a civilian you wouldn't benefit from this optic. In fact, I would encourage it given my positive experiences with it. But the reason the lens caps are here, the reason they have the flush adjustment tabs, the reason that offhand for most is adjusting the brightness and dimness is so we can stay on fire controls and I can adjust how bright my dot is, how dim my dot is. And it's really designed for patrol operations. The ruggedness that really gives you the peace of mind that despite this thing banging around in a cruiser or in your truck or whatever you're gonna be using this for, and it's not really gonna lose zero or get damaged in any way, the glass is protected. If that fits kind of your needs, then that would be obviously my recommendation. However, a lot of great options out there that may not be as proven as Aimpoint, but still have really good reputations. I trust this ultimately with my life, even in a home defense situation where I might not be abusing the Optic as much. Doesn't mean there aren't other options that you could go with, but that's kind of my why behind why I bought this. It's a really big deal for me. If I grab this with a bump in the night, or I grab it for patrol operations or for SWAT, I just have that peace of mind. I don't even have to think about it. Compared to its competitors, this thing is going to hold up despite maybe a slight increase in price. This is my trusted Optic for now, 2025. Had about, like I said, 8 months with it. Really happy with this product. If you're new to this channel, I don't do a ton of product reviews. It's simply because I want to make sure I put in the time behind it so that I can give you a good, honest review of the product. But if you guys have any recommendations on things that you want to see us review, please leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you're not already, and consider supporting us by going to our website at forcefrontier.com, checking out our life-saving gear and life-saving training. And with that, this is Josh signing off, Force Frontier. We'll see you on the next one.